It is the most boring class in college, and Sun Woo, being a self-respecting student, immediately falls asleep without any worries. Suddenly, a huge system window wakes him up, offering him to choose the best class for surviving the apocalypse. At first, Sun Woo doesn't understand what is happening. He rubs his eyes to make sure he isn't still asleep. That's when the whole classroom suddenly plunges into darkness, and all the other students begin to panic. Sun Woo wonders what this sudden blackout in the middle of the day is all about. But when all the electronics stop working, system windows appear in front of all the frightened students, and dozens of class cards with different numbers of stars appear, along with a 15-second countdown. While the others are afraid to choose anything, time is running out. Sun Woo decides to be the first to choose the card with the most stars, and it turns out to be the rarest class, Necromancer. Besides him, only one clumsy guy in the class chooses the swordsman class and receives a real sword. But Sun Woo doesn't receive any item, so he isn't sure if he really became a necromancer. Meanwhile, everyone else remains without any classes at all because they are too afraid to choose. Out of nowhere, one of the students gets stabbed by a pesky goblin. He screams and calls out to the rest of the class for help. However, Every continues looking at him in shock as the goblin continuously stabs him to death. After killing the guy, the goblin looks at the rest of the students and they realize that they might be next. Everyone immediately starts running except our boy. To be honest, he didn't run because he was scared of catching the goblin's attention. Seeing the goblin enraged, the students ask the nerdy sword guy to do something since he is the only one with a weapon. However, he starts crying and refuses to fight. Seeing this, the MC realizes that he is officially screwed. As the goblin pounces at him, he starts running away, but he suddenly realizes that he will die if he turns his back towards it. So, he turns around and kicks the goblin away. The goblin is smaller in size, so the MC decides to fight back with a chair. As it rushes towards him again, he squashes him with the chair like a nasty bug. After killing the goblin, he gets a notification telling him that he has received 10 gold for defeating a goblin. He looks at the message and wonders if their world has actually turned into a fantasy game. Another notification pops up informing him that he can control the dead under his command. At level 1, he can only control 3 goblins. As he is trying to figure things out, the goblin he just killed comes back to life as an undead warrior. Sun Woo finally realizes that his class allows him to summon the undead. As the undead goblin looks at him with its glowing eyes, 2 more goblins enter the room. The students start to panic again and scream for help. The MC stands in front of the goblins with his undead soldier awaiting his commands. Without thinking much, he orders the goblin to attack the enemy monsters. The skeleton starts moving and uses its blade to slash open the living goblins. However, the monsters start to fight back since it's a 2-on-1 battle. One of them manages to slash the left arm of the undead goblin. The MC realizes that he might have to step in if his goblin loses. The monsters didn't look that difficult to kill since they had a childlike body. However, he needed a weapon. He quickly called out to the nerdy kid with a sword and asked him to hand over his weapon. The guy held his weapon tightly and screamed that he wouldn't be giving it away. The Mac told him to fight the monsters if he didn't want him to use his weapons, but the guy was too scared to fight. At this point, he should just toss him to the goblins and steal his sword. To help his undead soldier, the MC grabs a chair and throws it at the monsters. The skeleton soldier uses this opportunity to finish them off with its blade. The MC gains more gold for killing 2 monsters. He stares at the one-armed goblin as it slowly walks towards him with a cute expression. The MC gets a bit weirded out by the skeleton, looking him straight in the eyes, so he orders him to look somewhere else. The skeleton lowers its head as if the MC hurt its feelings. Just then, Sun Woo gets another notification reminding him that he can control the undead. He quickly uses his spell to revive the 2 goblins he has just killed. He now has the maximum number of undead soldiers he can summon at his current level. As everyone tries to make sense of their situation, they start hearing cries for help from other departments in their college. The MC realizes that this stuff might not just be attacking their college campus, but the entire country. The outside view looks absolutely devastating. It seems as if the entire city is on fire. Considering their current situation, one of the students opens the door and suggests that they keep moving. Another student tells them to rush to the Daeonjing lot since he has a car. As they all run towards the stairs, a group of goblins appear from shadows. The goblin monsters run at the group of students, but before they can attack them, the undead skeletons ambush them. The MC screams at the students to run as the skeletons take care of the goblins. In a panic, the students scatter and run toward different areas of the college. The MC tries to stop them, but then realizes that it is better for them to go alone. He knows that the game followed some sort of rules. He thinks to himself that his best chance of survival is to keep fighting since it allows him to become stronger. He watches as his undead minions continue to fight for him. One of the monsters goes crazy and slashes the head of his undead soldier. With one of his soldiers down, Sung Woo realizes that he might be in trouble. Now, the two of his skeletons go against the two monsters. This time, his skeletons manage to kill them, and he receives more gold. He also notices that his level has increased. He opens his profile window to check out his stats. Instead of attribute points, he gets a level up card that gives him a random reward. He knows that it is based on luck, but it is one of the most important parts of the game. He finally chooses the random skill card, and it increases his maximum minion controlling capacity by 1. This means that he can control 4 minions at a time. Now, as he summons another skeleton, he realizes that he is low on mana. He surrounds himself with the skeletons and sits down to think for a bit. He still doesn't know what's going on, so he decides to focus on his survival for now. With his skeletons acting as a shield, he slowly makes his way downstairs. The situation down there doesn't look good, but he knows he can't stay on the campus forever. He orders his skeletons to lead the way and moves out. As the skeletons are going down, they come across Hanho. He gets scared upon seeing the undead goblins and smacks one of them in the head with his dagger. The MC sees him crying and calls him out. His friend asks him what the goblins are, and he tells him that they are kind of like his bodyguards. He then asks him about his class, and he says that he chose the rogue class. Since his friend was dumb, he chose a class with 1 star, thinking that it would put him at the same level as a brigadier general. Even the minions were disappointed in Bro. He joins their group, and all of them start making their way out of the campus. As they walk, the MC sees a notification telling him that he has acquired the effects of synergy since he is moving into a group. The effect requires the group to equip 5 daggers. It gives bonus gold and a chance to land a fatal hit on the enemy. The MC realizes that the buff applied to parties when certain conditions were met. Moreover, his skeleton army could also benefit from the bonuses. This meant that he could trigger this buff without even needing a party. As they slowly go down, they come across some minions and a giant monster who appears to be their boss. As he comes across the goblins, a notification tells him that the monsters are affected by the scent of death, which decreases their stats by 30%. This effect is only triggered when there are 4 or more skeletons of the same species. With this buff active, Sung Woo sends his skeleton minions to fight. They quickly overpower the goblins and start taking them down. However, the real challenge comes with the boss minion. He raises his hand to activate the Wild Berserker skill. This buffs the enemy minions, and they start turning the tide of the battle. The MC knows that he needs to stay calm in this situation. He knows that he needs to get rid of the buff if he wants his skeletons to have a chance of winning. He orders the one-armed skeleton to ignore the other minions and go after the boss. The goblin jumps at the boss and slashes its arm in half. Suddenly, he gets kicked by the boss, but he has done his job. With the buff gone, the skeletons easily take over the enemy goblins. The boss minion doesn't want to die that easily, so it puts up a fight. Eventually, the boss also goes down, and the MC receives some bonus gold. He notices that his boss has also dropped some items. One of them is a spear, and the other is a wristband that buffs nearby allied units. After claiming the items, he looks at the one-handed skeleton standing in front of him, waiting for praise. Sung Woo smiles and pats it on the head, which makes the skeleton a bit excited. He decides to continue moving with his friend. As they walk, here's some people nearby. The MC orders his skeletons to hide so they don't scare the other people. A lot of students gathered in front of the exit gate. A guy tries to calm everyone down and assures them that he has contacted the student council. It appears that the main exit gate of the college is locked, and they can't get out no matter what. The MC already knows the guy. His name is Jin Seek, and he is a bully who also harasses women. He was part of the student council, so he acted like he was the one in charge. The MC wondered if he was trying to show off by pretending to be the leader. He tells Sung Woo and his friend that they need to help them protect the rest of the students since they have weapons. He asks him about his class and brags about killing a goblin. As the MC is cringing at the student council guy, the nerd with a sword runs in and informs them that he hears the sound of goblins near the stairs. The council guy orders everyone to hide in the cafe while they guard the front. Meanwhile, Sung Woo calls out to his friend and shows him the message on the door. It says that the door won't be opened until they defeat the boss in a set amount of time. The boss will only get stronger if it's not defeated in time. The MC realizes that he can't rely on anyone to save them, so they need to kill the boss if they want to get out. Just then, he comes across Jin Seek again, who introduces him to the nerdy guy and orders him to hold the goblins. The MC asks him if he saw the message on the door. The guy tells him that he saw the message, and he is waiting for a rescue team to arrive. He thinks that the Korean army could come in and save all of them. The MC knows that he can't just sit around and wait for help to arrive. As he starts moving back toward the stairs, he sees a bunch of goblins running towards him. The nerdy guy almost has a heart attack seeing the goblins. At the same time, the skeleton minions also come out, which causes him to panic even more. The MC signals the skeletons to stop and explains that they are under his control. He calls the student council guy an idiot and sends his skeletons to fight. Due to the synergy buff and the scent of death, the monsters have no chance to fight back. As the students stare out from the glass windows of the cafe, they see Sung Woo's skeleton army fighting the minions. The MC joins his skeletons and starts smacking the goblins using his spear. Jeans looks at him in shock since he is planning to run away at his first chance. As the goblins try to escape, the MC orders his skeletons to block the stairs. He knows that he has to convince everyone that he can control these skeletons. In order to fight the boss, he needs them to team up with him. His bracelet activates the Wild Spirit buff, which increases the speed of all of his minions. These small goblins aren't a threat to him right now, but he knows he might have to fight stronger opponents later on. The students start to notice that the MC is the one controlling the skeletons. As his army cleared through the little goblins, everyone started cheering. The students are starting to trust him now. The MC looks through the dead monsters for any items, but he only gets a notification telling him that he has received a roulette ticket. He wonders how they will give him the ticket since he doesn't have any inventory. They all make their way back to the group. The MC smirks when he sees Jean's sock and asks him if he is helpful. Everyone stands in silence for a moment, not knowing what to do. The MC tells them that they cannot leave for now since they can't break the door. He explains that they need to kill the boss first, and he is somewhere in this building. Hearing this, everyone starts to step back since none of them want to go against the boss. The MC tells them that the consequences for failing will be too bad, and they might have to face much stronger monsters. Suddenly, one of the students raises his hand and reveals that he has seen the boss monster. It seems like the boss is on the roof. Sun Ung-woo knows that he has to go to the roof, so he asks the students if any of them want to join him. As expected, they're all scared to go with him. Even his friend wants to stay back, but the MC forces him to come along so he can buff his skeletons. As the two of them are talking, a girl named Jisoo interrupts their conversation and tells them that getting more people might be disadvantageous due to their narrow surroundings. She says that the MC already has his skeletons, so there's no point in bringing people who are even weaker than those skeletons. The MC thinks to himself that the girl seems a bit rash since they don't have enough information about the boss yet. He looks back at Jean's sock, but he starts trembling and tells him that he needs to stay back and protect the students. The MC knows that he won't be getting any more people to join him, so he decides to head up with his current team. As they move up, they encounter a wave of goblins. The goblins surround them from the top and bottom of the stairs. Without a moment of hesitation, Jisoo launches herself at the goblins and slashes them into pieces. She uses a long sword and appears to be properly trained. Hanho is really impressed by her skills. Meanwhile, our boy is busy taking care of the skeletons on the top. After clearing through the wave, they start moving again. After climbing a few stairs, they come across the injured professor. The MC runs to him and asks him what happened. He explains that after the monsters attacked the campus, he led his students to the roof in order to keep them safe. However, this was a huge mistake. All of the students became victims of a terrifying monster on the roof. He grabs the MC and begs him not to go to the roof since he doesn't want him to die. The MC grabs his spear and stands up. He has a new quest now that tells him to kill the boss and avenge the professor. The quest also states that his choice will affect his destiny. He knows that this is a crucial moment of the game, so he assembles his skeletons and starts moving up. Once on the roof, they all get a message informing them that they have entered the boss room. The situation of the roof is catastrophic. None of the students manage to survive the boss's rampage. All that is left is some minions. Jisoo gets furious looking at this and decides to rush in and kill all the monsters, but Sungwoo stops her and signals her to wait. He knows that they need to stay calm and be rational in this situation if they want to survive. It doesn't take long for the goblins to notice the group. They all grab their weapons and start to surround them. Hanho asks the MC if they should run, but he wants to stand his ground and fight. He raises his hand and activates the Berserker spell. With this buff, his skeletons charge at the tiny monsters and start slashing them. The MC tells the group to treat the undead soldiers as their shield. He stays behind a minion and strikes the goblin when he gets the chance. Jisoo also does the same and starts slashing the monsters. Meanwhile, Hanho still doesn't know what to do, so he stands awkwardly. Feeling useless, he takes out one of his daggers and throws at the goblins. His dagger hits and instantly kills the target. Bro even surprises himself. He was good at throwing since he used to throw away pencils from other students in his college. He immediately throws another dagger and it also hits the target. My guy locks in as he realizes that he has found his talent. As the enemy goblins start losing, they get affected by a debuff which decreases their stats. They start running in fear and stop in front of a giant goblin. The group immediately recognizes that this goblin is the boss monster. With the boss appearing, the goblins get a new wave of motivation, so they jump into battle again. As the group tries to fight back, they witness one of the skeletons getting destroyed to pieces by a single strike from a boss. The MC frantically orders all of his minions to retreat. The boss continues to strike his skeletons, killing them one by one. He revives the dead minions, but he is low on mana, so he can't keep doing it for long. Hanho tries to surprise the boss by throwing his daggers, but he blocks it. The boss furiously starts chasing after him, causing him to scream for help. The minions try to help him, but the boss smacks them away. However, one of the skeletons manages to land a hit on the boss. This makes him even more furious, and he kicks the minion away. Out of nowhere, the sword girl shows up and slashes the boss while he is distracted. She lands a good hit, but it is still not enough to finish him off. The MC realizes that she is being strategic, so he decides to make a strategy, too. He surrounds the boss with his minions and orders one of them to attack him from the back. As the boss turns around to defend himself, he launches the spear directly at him. It hits him in the face, and he screams out in pain. The MC is almost out of mana now, and he only has 3 skeletons standing. The boss recognizes this and laughs, thinking he has won. He immediately strikes using his sword, which makes the MC lose his guard. As the boss starts running at him, he knows he has to think of something, otherwise they will all die. Fortunately, he notices a sword lying around. The boss shakes everything while rushing towards the MC. Sun On Woo sigh as he clenches his sword. He then commands both of his minions to rush the boss monster. The boss immediately smacks one of the minions to pieces. The other minions jump in the air and grab the sword passed to them by the MC. However, it fails to land the hit since the boss is too quick to defend. With a minion now holding a sword, the weapon synergy effect is triggered, increases attack speed, and decreases the weight of the weapon. Moreover, the minion activates the one-armed warrior effect, which gives it an 88% chance to cause a bleeding effect on its first attack. The MC knows that he can win with these buffs. He grabs a chair and rushes at the boss with his sword. At the same time, Jisoo and the minion also rush at him. He hits him with the chair to create an opening, and they all go in to attack. However, the boss slams the ground, causing an explosion and throwing them back. Suddenly, the boss gets stabbed by a dagger thrown by Hanho. The MC knows this is his chance. He orders his one-handed skeleton to sacrifice himself so they can land a hit on the boss. The minion played an active role in the entire fight, but now it was time for it to die. In a shocking turn of events, the minion manages to hit the boss with its blade and triggers the bleeding effect. The boss finally goes down, and the MC increases his level. He also notices that the skeleton has absorbed all the mana from the boss and is now leveled up. It was at level 2 and had the attributes of a commander. His friends tell him that they have also leveled up after defeating the boss. They all begin talking about their level cards. The MC chooses a random skill card. It allows him to create weapons from bones using mana. At his current level, he can only create 4 weapons, and the quality of those weapons depends on the bone. With the boss dead, his exclusive quest also concludes, and he receives another skill that increases the total number of minions he can spawn. He still doesn't understand the destiny part of the quest. While he is thinking, he notices a hood falling from the sky. His friend grabs the hood and tells him that it will increase his chance of hiding from the monsters by 50%. Jisoo received a fire whetstone. By sharpening her blade with the stone, her blade had a chance to catch fire during an attack. The MC suggests that they test their items and skills later since they need to keep moving. Back at the cafe, the students are starting to get worried. Even a nerd kid begins to wonder if they should have gone to fight the boss with Sung Woo. Hearing this, Suk starts shouting at the students, telling them that they can just leave if they want. He says that if anyone wants to complain, they can go to the roof and die like the MC. The students start calling him out on his BS since the only one protecting them is Sun Woo. Hearing this, he loses his cool and starts to verbally abuse them. He also tells them that the MC has died and they have no one to protect them. Just then a bunch of skeletons show up and scare the crap out of him. The MC returns and asks him if he wants him to die. He opens the exit door in front of him and gets ready to leave the campus. The group along with the skeletons glances back at Suk. The MC asks if he has something to say. He feels slightly embarrassed and makes a face, but doesn't respond. Behind him, other students start to whisper that he's only pretending to be a strong leader, when in reality, he's still a loser. Ignoring all this, the MC, Hanho, and Jisoo exit the building with their skeleton minions. After inspecting the surroundings and finding it clear, Sungwoo notices a passageway and calls everyone to follow. As they walk further, they find several corpses with smashed heads and a variety of weapons scattered around. After examining the bodies, the MC concludes they were killed by goblins and wonders if any are still lurking on campus. Hanno suddenly gets excited as he notices a bunch of people in the distance. The MC and the rest approach the group. They all have weapons on them, and it looks like they have successfully fought the monsters and survived. Jin-suk pushes his way forward, grinning as he greets a guy named Daesung. The guy also recognizes him and is a bit surprised that he has survived. As the two talk, Jisoo scowls since she already knows the guy. As Jin-suk whispers something to him, Jisoo and Hanho mutter that they are clearly talking about Sungwoo. The MC doesn't really care, and he just stands there with a smile. Dest introduces himself to the group as the president of the student council and comments on how much everyone has suffered. He tells them that they need to unite if they want to survive. He then points at the skeletons and asks about them. The MC casually explains that the skeletons are part of his class card abilities. With a hint of contempt, the council president asks the MC why he chose creatures that kill people. Sunu realizes that he is trying to make him seem dangerous. Dong mentions that if he wants to join their group, he'll have to get rid of all the skeletons. Slightly irritated, the MC asks what would happen if he refused. The student council president dramatically raises his hand and asks the MC if he really wants to let the creepy and strange skeletons join their group. Hanho initially gets mad about the creepy part, but after glancing at the skeletons, he agrees with the council president, though he still finds them cute. The MC mentions that the skeletons are part of his class, and if he destroys them, he'll lose his weapons. He insists that survival in this new world requires protection, and the skeletons provide that. Daeong smirks and tells him that he shouldn't be worried since they will be protecting him. He asks him for the final time if he wants to join their group. Hearing this, Jisoo gets annoyed and steps forward while holding her sword out. She tells him that they don't even want to join their group and points out that being on the student council doesn't make him special. Daeong looks at her and asks if she's from the Department of Social and Physical Education. With a smirk, she responds that it doesn't matter anymore. As the university is destroyed, he suggests that they calm down and think about his offer again. This makes her even angrier. She reminds him how he embezzled student fees by forging checks during a festival and reveals that she was the one who reported them on the university's website. Hearing this, he finally asks them to go their separate way. As the group begins to leave, he shouts at them and says that they'll regret not staying together for the synergy effect. Imagine saying this to a guy who can spawn an army of skeletons. After getting away from the student council members, the MC asks Jisoo if she has a personal grudge against Daeong. She tells him that he is just a bully who comes to school to hit on girls and harass women. Hanho grumbles as he hears that the student council president is a scoundrel. The girl suggests that they focus on getting out of the campus for now. Moreover, they should avoid places filled with people because monsters may be hunting for big groups. Sungwoo thinks for a second and suggests that they take the footpath by the hill since it leads to the main gate, but avoids most people. The team climbs a long wooden staircase with the skeletons scanning the area. It feels a bit too quiet. Suddenly, Sun-Ung-woo raises his hand, signaling everyone to freeze. At the end of the stairs, they spot a huge orc standing over several fresh corpses. This orc monster looks even bigger than the goblin boss. The MC realizes that this is the next wave of monsters. Without any warning, the monster swings its axe into the ground and charges at them. The MC is used to fighting monsters by now, so he smiles and thinks of it as an opportunity to make new skeletons. The orc goes for the skeletons and smashes them to pieces without warning. After destroying the skeletons, it turns its attention to Jisoo, who awkwardly thrusts her sword forward. The orc's axe crashes in her blade, nearly overwhelming her. As it raises its axe for another strike, one of Sung-woo's skeletons sacrifices itself, shattering to save Jisoo. The MC knows that he can't let the orc get closer, so he commands one of his skeletons to stop it. The one-armed skeleton steps in front of the orc. As the orc tries to hit it, it dodges the attack and lands a blow on his shoulder. The MC calls out to Jisoo and tells her to retreat to stable ground since they can't fight the orc on the stairs. She seems frustrated by how effortlessly the orc broke through her defense. After moving up, the MC tells the group that they can't really get close to the orc. The orc recovers from the hit and starts moving up the stairs. Meanwhile, the group heads for the trees to restrict his movements. The MC tells Jisoo that he will use the skeletons as sacrifices for his plan. Necessary. He has plenty of corpses nearby, so he only needs to look after his mana. The orc begins pushing through the trees, trying to catch them. After surrounding the orc, Sun-Ung-woo orders his skeletons to strike. At the same time, Hanno hurls a dagger toward the monster. All the skeletons also join in and throw their weapons at the orc. Two of them rush the orc from his blind spots, but the orc manages to hit them both. Surprisingly, the skeletons manage to grab both of his arms and hold them tight. At the same time, the MC and Ji-Su rush towards him with their swords. The orc swings at Ji-Su, but she evades the attack, slipping beneath his arm and striking his knee with her blade. The orc falls to one knee just as the MC slices through his right arm. Finally, the one-armed skeleton launches itself into the air and delivers the final blow. The MC sees a window that informs him that he has earned 110 gold for slaying the orc patrol leader. Surprised, he realizes they just took down the orc's boss. Gio tells him that the orc wasn't as tough as the previous boss they'd faced. He walks towards the corpse and tries to summon it, but the system informs him that his level isn't high enough to raise medium-tier monsters. He summons some normal skeletons and asks Ji-Su what card she picked. She recalls choosing the 3-star Tiger Hunter card because she liked its color. Since his mana is recovered, the MC decides to try his new skills. He uses his ability to craft weapons from bones, producing a sword, blunt weapon, spear, and arrow of the lowest grade. Each weapon can be traded for gold. As he holds the axe, he realizes that the weapons are much lighter than he thought. He throws the axe to one of his skeletons and gives each of them a new weapon. This activates a few more weapon synergy buffs for the skeletons. He lends one of his swords to Hanho and instructs him to give it back to the skeleton. Later, the group starts making their way down the stairs. On their way, Hanho spots something unusual. In front of them is a sealed purple entrance with a message that they must defeat the boss in 8 minutes or face a double power boost to all monsters. The mech is frustrated as he realizes that this is the second time they've encountered such a situation. At the same time, an alert appears informing them that orc squads are beginning a hunt. Drawn to the scent of hunters and large groups, Ji-Su realizes that the size of the group determines the number of enemies. So staying with a large group might not be the best idea in this scenario. Meanwhile, an orc shows up to hunt the student council team. Ji-Su and Ho can hear their screams from outside the building. He feels relieved that they didn't join them. The three of them realize that being in a large group isn't always beneficial. Another notification pops up, which indicates the arrival of the first orc wave. The group has to face 5 orcs in total. Hanho starts to panic as he sees them approaching and asks the MC for his plan. After thinking for a second, he smirks and tells him that he has an idea. He plans to set a trap using the cars and skeletons around them. As the orcs start moving down the road, one of them spots Hanho standing on a car, taunting them by calling them pigs. Furious, the orcs charge at him. Just before they get too close, a car door swings open and throws them off balance. That's when the MC and Ji-Su spring into action. She pulls out her sword, and he uses his skeleton army, who are hiding, to attack. The skeletons hit the orcs from all sides, not giving them any time to react. After killing the orcs, a system notification pops up announcing their victory. Sun Wu earns 100 gold for defeating the first wave and levels up to 4. He notices that he can now command a total of 7 minions, even though his mana capacity is still low. Meanwhile, Hanho is excited about his new high-speed/skill. The MC turns to Ji-Su and asks her what she got. She explains that she picked strength, raising her power by 2 points and giving her a warm, fiery sensation. The MC tells Hanho to give back his sword and summons 2 more skeletons, getting ready for whatever comes next. He hands the sword over to a skeleton that reaches out for it. As they make their way out of the area, they realize that the entire city is in chaos. While walking, Sun Wu suddenly raises his fist and signals everyone to stop. In front of them, a bunch of orcs are attacking a bus, trying to kill everyone inside. The 3 of them peek out from behind a tree and spot 7 orcs in total. One of the guys inside the bus tries to hit the orcs with a spear, but it's not enough. The MC knows that they might all die at this rate. Ji-Su watches as 2 orcs swing their axes for another strike and says that they should help them. She suggests that they attack the orcs from one side of the bus while the spear guy attacks them from the other side. However, the MC is doubtful if the spear guy will be brave enough to go against the orcs. He tells her that relying on strangers might not be wise in their situation. Just then, he points at a truck and says that they will show the orcs the convenience of civilization. Inside the bus, a blonde guy with a sword and shield shouts at another man holding a spear, criticizing him for not hitting the orcs. Kyanga Lee screams at him to fight the orcs himself with his own shield and sword. The passengers are trembling and crying since they all think they're going to die. To their surprise, the orcs stop hitting the bus and turn to see a car speeding towards them. The vehicle plows through, tossing 2 orcs into the air. Seeing this, the guys inside the bus are left speechless, unable to comprehend what's happening. The skeletons jump off the trucks and start attacking the orcs. One of the guys inside the bus is even more scared of these skeletons than he was with the orcs. After everything calms down, The guys inside the bus wonder if the skeletons are gone. Suddenly, a skeleton appears at the window. The man drops his spear in terror and falls to the floor, screaming for the skeleton to disappear. Hanho knocks on the bus door, urging the frightened man to open it. The man sees them, but is too terrified of the skeleton to comply. Despite their assurances that they're human after killing all the orcs, they leave the area. The scene changes to Hanho striking a vending machine with his hammer. Sun Wu turns to him and asks what he's up to. He smiles and raises his hand, winking as he admits he has no cash, but wants a soda, so he's trying to break the machine. The recently rescued blonde guy approaches the vending machine, attempting to buy a Coke for Hanho, only to find it's broken. The MC scratches his head and asks the group if they should continue their discussion. He points to a machine and asks if it spits out items. Kungo nods, explaining that they tried it, but they had little gold, so they could only use it once. He then glances at an old TV with a sticker reading, "If you need this, go ahead and take it," suggesting that following the instructions could yield an item. Suddenly, the TV screen lights up, welcoming everyone to the E-Class store. Sanungo presses the screen to browse the offerings. The store offers a chance to try their luck with 3 reward tiers: bronze, silver, and gold. E-Class stores sell items up to the gold rank. As he browses the shop, Hanho and Ji-Soo ask him if the shop would actually work. He tells them that they have to try it if they want to know. Hanho has about 360 gold, while Ji-Soo has 584. Our boy, on the other hand, has 1552 gold, which means that he can try the silver roulette as well. However, he also has the unlimited rank roulette ticket, which allows him to choose an item of any rank. Hanho watches him in shock as he chooses the gold roulette option. His luck is great since he gets first place in the spin. For this, he receives a blue ball called the Tear of the Sea Spirit. It is a legendary class item that increases his mana by 300 and mana recovery by 200%. This was exactly the item he needed since he was facing mana problems. After the gold roulette, he decides to spend his gold on the silver roulette. This time he gets second place and receives a shield. Ji-Soo also gets second place and gets a skill called Leader of the Expedition Force. However, my man Hanho ends up with third place and receives some potions. He feels disappointed, but Sung-woo tells him that his potions might be useful later on. Ji-Soo informs them that the situation in the sports field is still ongoing, so they should probably help them. Hanho looks at the MC and asks him if they're going to use the same plan again. The MC smiles as he stares at the truck and reveals that he has something bigger in mind this time. Away from them, the student council group cries for help as it is being attacked by the orcs. Daeong tells everyone to group up and prepare to escape as he holds them off using his sword. One of the guys informs him of people who are trapped in the stands. He tells the man to ignore them since they don't have time to be worrying about others. He then orders Jeans, Sook, and Hung to lead the way since the 2 of them have shields. The group suddenly notices a bus coming at the orcs from behind. The bus destroys them mercilessly as the man, sitting inside, laughs like a lunatic. After clearing through the orcs, Hanho leans out of the bus and tells everyone to get inside. The players outside realize that they should have followed them from the start instead of staying behind. Ji-Soo also jumps out of the bus and comes face to face with an orc. She wants a revenge for the last time. As the orc tries hitting her, she blocks it using her sword. This time, her sword doesn't get pushed back. She kills the orc with her burning sword and excitedly looks back only to see Sung-woo and his skeletons killing all the other orcs. She notices his incredible strategy of attacking the orcs while keeping his distance. This makes her feel a bit stupid since she only invested points into her physical strength to overpower orcs. As he continues tearing through the orcs, she wonders what he did before all of this. After killing the orcs, he stares at Dong and asks him what he is doing here since he didn't want to be near his skeletons before. Daeong nervously laughs and asks him if he's going to hold a grudge against him in their current situation. The MC looks at him furiously and tells him that he saw him abandoning people and running away. He explains that he was just retreating and trying to reorganize his team. However, everyone on the bus knows that he is lying. As they are having this conversation, they see a notification about the orc chief being enraged. The MC immediately gets on the bus and tells Daeong that he will only be allowed to get in if he follows his orders. He orders him to hand over his armor first. He complains and asks him how he is supposed to protect his body without his armor. Sun Ung-woo smiles and tells him that he has nothing to worry about since he will be under his protection. After they leave, he gets a system notification telling him that his level has increased to 5, allowing him to control medium-sized monsters. Another system alert informs him that the maximum number of monsters under his control has increased. He feels glad that he now commands 9 monsters. Suddenly, he notices movement behind him and turns to see one of the skeletons wearing all the armor he took from Daeong. He wonders if it's too heavy for him to move. Remembering their past battles, he realizes this skeleton is more reliable than the others. He sighs and tells the skeleton to undress. The skeleton looks at him in despair while he puts on a chain mail over his white t-shirt. Manhwa walks in and points at the crowd behind them. He tells him that they might need another bus if they want to keep rescuing more people. The MC tells him that they won't focus on rescuing others anymore. He walks toward the crowd with Jisoo and Manhwa by his side, gripping the handrail as the bus sways. He tells the people they need to fight the orcs. A system window appears, declaring that the orc boss has initiated a global destruction operation, meaning the monsters will hunt the survivors until no one remains. Sun Eung-woo looks at the crowd with hopeful eyes, reminding them that according to the game's rules, they cannot evade the orcs forever. They must defeat the boss to escape. A guy in a tracksuit with bandaged fingers raises his hand and tells them that he saw a lot of orcs in the gym. He estimates that there were a total of 100 orcs. This revelation horrifies the crowd as the system alerts them to a penalty for imperfect teamwork. 3 new system alerts appear. The first states that at least 10 players have a level below 5, resulting in a reduction of movement speed and attack speed. The second notification reports that at least 10 players haven't killed a single monster, which decreases their attack power and gold accumulation. The third message indicates that due to the reluctance of the majority, the chance of a state of confusion has increased. Sun Eung-woo sighed heavily, realizing that while they could defeat most of the orc army in battle, things have become clear to him. The crowd looks at him in surprise when he declares that he will fight the orcs himself. He believes that having a weapon is useless if one doesn't know how to wield it. Jisoo and Manhwa try to stop him, but he tells them the same thing. The people in the crowd stare at him, puzzled, thinking that he might have gone mad. The members of the student council smirk as they discuss how this might be a great opportunity to eliminate him. Jinsk looks out the window, calling him a fool and predicting that he will soon die. Jisoo thinks that it isn't a good idea, so she tries to convince him not to go alone. He reminded her that when they were on the first floor, she said there was no point in sticking together. His skeletons alone are much stronger than most of the people on that bus, so it's not really useful to bring anyone along. Hearing this, Jisoo thinks to herself how his strategies are usually foolproof, but this time the stakes are much higher. As Sun Eung-woo walks into the ground with his skeletons, everyone watches him from the university windows. His friends are inside the bus some distance away from him. They're here to rescue him if anything goes wrong. Sun Woo freezes in the middle of the field as dark figures of enemies emerge. The orcs descend onto the field with a roar approaching him. Without warning, they start charging towards him. The MC analyzes the monsters and tries to pick out the orc chief. He doesn't really see any system messages, so he concludes that this must be a mid-level boss. The red orc raises his axe toward him and growls. He steps up to the stands, instructing his minions to move forward. The shield cacks as he lowers it to the ground. Positioned at the top of the stairs, he decides to hold his ground. As the orcs roar toward the stairs, the skeletons raise their daggers, preparing to attack. The MC immediately activates his wild berserker skill, increasing the strength and attack of the goblins. Instead of fighting at melee range, the skeletons start throwing their daggers towards the orcs. The daggers kill a few of them, but the boss manages to block them. The MC panics, realizing that his throwing attack has been blocked, and commands his skeletons to charge. He knows that this plan is suicidal. As all the skeletons get destroyed by the orc boss, Righty stares at it with flames coming out his eyes. Sun Woo places his hand on the skeleton's skull and tells it to wait. The orc monsters smirk after they destroy all the skeletons. However, something suddenly smacks one of them from behind. Behind the orc stands an undead orc warrior who is now controlled by Sun Eung-woo. A notification pops up indicating that the teamwork has activated the first stage of the synergy effect. The MC gains access to the weapon synergy, which requires at least 5 axes. This effect boosts attack power and speed for the first 10 seconds of battle. The orcs struggle to fight back against the undead orcs since they neither bleed nor get tired. Sun Eung-woo stands proudly on top of the stairs with Righty, and together they watch as the army of undead orcs overwhelms the ordinary orcs below. Some of the students look through the window and stare in disbelief as they see the MC clearing through all the orcs on his own. Behind the frightened orcs, Jisoo, Manhwa, and the bus driver also watch this intense battle. Jisoo's eyes widen in surprise as she recalls her last conversation with Sung Woo. She realizes that he has anticipated everything. As the MC glances at the system alert, displaying his mana level, he feels a surge of happiness as it rises. He wonders if this is the power of a legendary item. Skulls float above the battlefield as another notification informs Sung Woo that the orcs have been weakened by the overwhelming scent of death, reducing their characteristics by 30%. Frightened, the orcs begin to retreat. However, their leader roars back, triggering a morale boost effect that has the effects of the debuff. With a cry, the orcs charge back in a battle against the MC. On the other side, Sun Ung-woo's undead army is ready to fight the approaching orcs. Righty climbs onto the fence above the MC and rushes to back the rest of the undead army. As it runs towards them, it takes out its sword and starts slashing some orcs. Combined with the undead orcs, the skeleton charges at the enemy on Sung Woo and LT, Unk and GT's command. After finishing the orcs, the MC sits down on the steps, letting out a heavy sigh. A system notification appears before him, announcing that he has earned a lottery ticket for defeating 100 monsters. This achievement allows him to rank up to infinite status, making him the 21st player in the story to receive this honor. He realizes there are 20 players ahead of him who have already claimed this ticket. Suddenly, he hears the sound of a bus. Someone is trying to drive the bus away and escape. However, they hit the pink wall and it prevents them from leaving. Sun Ung-woo gets annoyed as he sees the student president group being swarmed by the orcs. They were the ones trying to leave with the bus. They cry for help as the orcs try to kidnap them. Frustrated, he faces palms. He is upset that others disobeyed his orders and complicated the situation. As Sun Woo prepares to rescue the group, the other students are urged to join him as well. Even though he prefers to fight alone, he allows them to join him as long as they don't get in the way of his skeletons. He enters the building with 2 of his undead orcs. He can see the bodies of defeated goblins hanging from the ceiling. The inside of the building looks terrifying. The group halts as a glow emerges from the smoke ahead, revealing a monster with glowing eyes. Sun Woo holds the orb in his hands and questions if he is looking at the boss. He orders everyone to get ready since they are about to face the orc boss. The hostages are battered and bloodied, some even with knocked out teeth. The MC is somewhat relieved that no hostage is killed yet, but he's also confused since he didn't think that the orcs were intelligent enough to take hostages. The members of the student council look at him and beg for help. He glares at them fiercely and tells them that their current situation was the result of their own foolishness, and they also dragged other people into it. He is against someone who can't even understand him. So, he decides to go Allen and not show any weakness since it could be dangerous for him. His plan is to confuse the orcs with a sudden attack and save the group. Out of nowhere, one of the orcs swings its axe and brutally separates the head of the student council president from his body. Everyone is shocked to witness this. However, the surprises don't end there. From the roof of the building, the actual orc boss shows up. He unleashes a strange spell that causes everyone to feel weak. The system sends multiple alerts to Ji-soo indicating that she has fallen into a state of confusion due to the breath of the abyss, and her mana continues to drain. The orc boss finally makes his entrance. He is a junior-level black magician, similar to a shaman. Hanho's hands tremble as he squeezes a bottle, attempting to open it. He drinks the bottle to restore his mana and even offers one to Sung Woo. However, he rejects it and tells him to give it to Ji-soo instead. He grins, inhaling the streams of dark mana, finding the dark energy refreshing. Meanwhile, a system alert indicates that the breath of the abyss has significantly boosted his mana reserves, now exceeding 4,000. He understands why he feels so confident. The system informs him that due to the accumulation of abyssal breath, the effects of the first awakening are temporarily activated, significantly enhancing his characteristics and increasing the number of monsters he can summon. As he walks forward, his figure is illuminated solely by the glow of his mana, giving him a terrifying appearance. Imagine using black magic on a necromancer. He continues walking towards the boss with a smile on his face and asks him what he did. The boss is reasonably confused since he didn't expect any of this to happen. Ji-soo rushes after Sun Woo and says that they should all attack together, just like on the roof. Sun Ung-woo lets out a creepy smile as his entire body seems to glow with overflowing mana. He declares that from now on nothing will be the same. The undead soar into the air and Hanho watches them as all the dead bodies on the roof start coming to life. His eyes stay wide open with shock as he stares at the numerous system notifications about different synergy buffs that they have acquired. Meanwhile, Sung Woo looks like an absolute monster who wants the boss to taste the true power of death. The orc shaman starts smashing all the undead warriors into pieces. However, a system notification appears revealing that there is a guaranteed chance to revive all these undead skeletons. No matter how many skeletons the shaman kills, they keep coming back. As he kills one skeleton, Sung Woo revives it instantly. The orc shaman starts growing tired. He stares at the MC who now looks like an absolute monster. My man accidentally turned into the boss. He asks the shaman if he finally understands who he is facing at the moment. He stares into his soul with his glowing eyes and tells him that it is the true nature of death. The shaman shrieks in fear as he doesn't know how to defeat the MC. He tries to retreat, but the undead army surrounds him from all sides. Sun Wu sees this and tells him that he is foolish to think that he can escape death. The poor shaman screams as all the skeletons leap at him from all directions. He tries to fight back, but the numbers are highly against him. At last, Raidi delivers the final blow and puts him out of his misery. Sun Wu gets 1055 gold for killing the junior black magician. After killing the orc chief, Raidi absorbs his mana and increases its rank. Sanunga realizes that his minions have to defeat the boss in order to gain experience. He then opens up the list of his minions. He has a total of 33 skeletons, one of his, which is a level 3 veteran. As he looks at the list, Hanho calls him and tells him that there is something coming out of the boss monster's mouth. As the MC takes a look, he realizes that it's an item. The item description says that it grants devil attributes to the user, and once equipped, it will require many sacrifices to remove. He doesn't really understand what the devil attributes mean, and assumes that it will likely be the same as his necromancer class. He equips the item which grants him the devil attribute. It allows him to steal the enemy's mana with each attack. Suddenly, all of his skeletons start crumbling back to bones as the effect of the orc shaman spell wears off. The group goes back to the students who cheer them for defeating the boss. They call the MC their hero, but he doesn't really feel good about any of this since he has no need for other people. He knows that in order to increase his chances of survival, he needs to avoid getting too many people with him. Since the boss has been defeated, the seal finally breaks and the exit doors open. The students wonder if they can finally leave the area. They all start talking to each other, thinking about their next move. Some of them think that they should just continue following Sun Wu since it is their best option for survival. Hanho looks at his phone with a worried expression and tells the MC that it is happening all over the world. He wonders if his parents are all right. Hearing this, the MC thinks about his own parents. Suddenly, a bus stops in front of them and Kyanggu tells everyone to hop on. He says that he was a driver during his military service and he knows where the military base is. He's going to take the bus to the base. Sun Wu smiles and lies to him that he can't go since his house is nearby. Kyung-soo asks the rest of the students to hop on and reveals that they have brought 2 buses to accommodate everyone. Everyone except the MC's groups gets on the buses. The guy says goodbye to him and drives off. After the students leave, Hanho wonders where they will go next. He asks Ji-soo where she lives. She tells him that she used to live in the school dorms since her own family lives on an island. She then asks the MC if she can stick with him even though she won't be of much help to him. He assures her that she will be helpful and lets her stay. Hanho asks him the same question, but the MC jokingly tells him that he needs to cut off one of his hands first to become a one-armed warrior like Raidi. Out of nowhere, Ji-soo pushes them both to the ground to protect them from something. As the 2 fall down, a giant dragon flies over them. The group looks at the terrifying creature, not knowing what it is. Meanwhile, the bus comes to a stop and Kyanga notices several dragons following them. A guy screams at him to continue driving, but he tells him that it is more dangerous for them to continue moving right now. The dragons only seem to be chasing the buses which are moving. The system notification informs them that the boss Wyvern Alpha male has appeared. The next moment, the dragon lands on top of the bus and rips it into pieces after flying it into the air. Sun Wu looks at this and realizes that he is nearly not strong enough for this world. However, he can become stronger. With his back turned toward Ji-soo, he tells her that instead of avoiding the monsters, they're going to actively hunt them from now on. This leaves her a bit confused, and she asks him what he means. He explains that they can't just rely on adapting to the situation. If they continue doing that, they will only go from being easy food to food that is a bit harder to catch. In order to survive, they need to dominate the monsters. He clenches his fist, and the group starts walking toward a group of orcs. As the orcs and players come face to face, a system notification pops up telling them that the tutorial is complete. If that was the tutorial, I'm not sticking around for the actual game. As the hunt begins, Sanunga uses his skeleton army to surround a bunch of minions. The goblins try to escape, but he has all the exit points blocked off. The skeletons continue slashing them as they run for their lives. Each kill gives extra gold to the MC. After getting rid of all of them, he gains a level. Hanho gets out from hiding and nervously laughs, saying that he took care of them all by himself. The MC sighs and tells him that they are all just small fry. He doesn't think that killing goblins is going to do them any good. He takes a look at the level cards and chooses to increase his strength. After picking the strength card, his body actually feels a bit different. His skeleton army continues to clear goblins out of sight, and he gains more gold. He walks out to see Ji-soo standing there with her blade. She smiles at him and tells him that there were 9 goblins in total, and she killed them all by herself. The MC looks at Hanho and asks him to pick up the daggers left behind by the goblins. He stores all the daggers in an icebox. As they prepare to move forward, he tells the group that they're going to ignore goblins from now on. Jisoo asks him if he wants to hunt stronger monsters. He explains that compared to goblins who are only worth 10 gold, a single orc gives about 80 gold. However, he wishes to find a group of monsters that can give them even better rewards. The group continues walking through the empty roads with no one in sight. Suddenly, Hanho notices some military trucks in the distance. There are a lot of dead soldiers piled up in front of the trucks. As they get closer, they notice the soldiers carrying shovels instead of actual weapons. The next moment, a soldier shows up from one of the trucks with a shovel and asks them if they're human. He is scared of the skeletons standing behind the group. Sun Ung-woo waves at him with a smile and assures him that they are human and mean no harm. The soldier calls out to his sergeant and informs him of the people outside. The MC walks to meet the sergeant from outside the window. He apologizes for having to meet them like this, but he can't walk out since his leg is injured. Sun Woo realizes that he's been stabbed by a goblin. Sergeant Kim feels a bit disappointed in himself as he tells him that he got stabbed by a minion who was no bigger than a child. Somehow, they manage to beat the monsters. The MC looks at the sergeant in confusion and asks him why they are not carrying any guns. The sergeant explains that their guns just won't fire. It wasn't a mechanical malfunction, but all of their weapons stopped working after the monsters showed up. They had to resort to fighting with shovels and swords. Looking at the sergeant's condition, Hanho faintly tells Sung-woo that he has some healing potions. Kim moves closer to the window as he sees the bottle and asks them if he can have it. Sun-woo looks away and tells him that they can't simply hand out resources that may be critical to their own survival. Hearing this, the sergeant pokes his head out of the truck and tells him that he can offer him some information. He says that he will tell them everything he saw and heard till now. The MC thinks about it and says that he wants to hear it first before deciding if the information is even worth it. Kim reveals to him that there are wolves roaming around that are as large as bulls. They couldn't even take a single wolf down, and their forces were overwhelmed. Moreover, there's also a QR code. He saw 2 of them so far. One of them is in the station and the other is in the subway transfer center. The sergeant takes out his phone and tells them to scan the codes as it will install an app on their phones. This is the only way they can communicate with other survivors, since all other means of communication are not functioning. Sun Ung-woo hands over the potion to him as he thinks about the community of survivors. The sergeant then asks them where they are going and says that they are going to rejoin their unit. Sun-woo asks them if he will be safe with his unit. Kim tells him that when the monsters first appeared, their superiors took away their weapons and told them to fight the monsters with shovels. But he is sure that they must have changed their tune by now. The MC tells him that they are heading somewhere else. As Kim prepares to leave, he warns him of the creatures in the sky. The sergeant starts sweating as he hears that there are giant dragons flying around the sky. After parting ways, the MC continues moving with his friends and the skeleton army. They come across their first QR code as they reach the station. Before installing the app, Hanho worryingly asks the MC if the code might install a virus on their phone. My man worrying about a virus in the apocalypse. The app has a message board and a news feed that allows the players to share information with each other. The admin of the game also uses it to post updates. Sun Ung-woo looks at a post from the admin and wonders who could be behind all of this. He also looks at the message board, which is empty for now. Jisoo tells him that it costs about 000 gold to make a post. Suddenly, they see a new post from player 4884, informing other players that their group is making a safe zone in the H apartment complex of Hazang City. The post also has 2 comments, one of which is from another player asking how to contact the group. Looking at the address, Hanho tells them that it is near his own place. Sung-woo asks him if they should go there. He also wonders how the person making the post managed to spend 1,000 gold so easily. They barely managed to reach level 6 after going through so much trouble. And the other group was already at level 8. He stares at the post and thinks to himself that something about it seems wrong. However, he still needs to meet some Heil survivors. So, he continues walking towards the address mentioned in the post. Suddenly, he hears a beep on his phone. He checks to see a comment deleted on the post. The player asks why the comment was deleted, and the author of the original post tells them that someone was just talking crap, so they deleted their comments. This comes off as a bit strange to the MC as he continues staring at his phone. Meanwhile, we see another buff guy holding a phone. He lets out a creepy smile as he realizes that another victim has fallen into his trap. The sun shines brightly overhead as a man frantically tries to defend his daughter against a group of minions. He only has a baseball bat, which he uses to try to scare the monsters away. Soon he realizes that he can't hold them off, so he screams for help. However, none of the other players come to his aid, and they continue to watch him from the safety of the surrounding houses. As the minions get closer to the man, one of them gets stabbed by a dagger. Suddenly, an undead orc shows up and starts hitting them with its axe. The man watches in confusion as Sung Woo and LT, Unk and GT's undead army comes to his aid at the last second. He holds his hand out for the man and tells him that he is safe now. The man tells him in a trembling voice that his house is nearby, but they ran out of food. The MC opens up his bag and gives him a few cans of food. He knows that it won't be enough, but that's all he has for now. The minions try to escape as the skeleton army overwhelms them. As the group chases them to some stairs, they come across a dungeon sign. Hanho asks the MC if they should go down and finish the minions. Before they can walk any further, the man stops them and warns them from going into the basement. He reveals that there is something even more terrifying than those green minions down in the basement. Sunwoo looks at the man with a smile and thanks him for the warning. After going down the stairs, they receive a notification telling them that they have entered the Elder Slime Shrine. As the group heads further into the basement, they come across a dead minion with slime covering its head. An undead orc swiftly uses its axe to destroy the slime. It gives them 140 gold for each kill. Hanho holds his melting dagger as he complains that the slime can even dissolve metal. The MC tells him that it can't dissolve bones, which makes his skeletons their natural predator. Hanho then hears a noise and turns around to see a giant slime monster. The monster destroys one of the skeleton minions with a single attack. Sungwoo realizes that the slime can also crush and chew the opponent if it can't dissolve them. Moreover, all the attacks of his skeletons are useless due to the size and density of the slime. He quickly thinks of a plan and starts creating bone weapons. Instead of creating more skeletons, the MC starts creating weapons from the bones and throwing them at the slime from a distance. Geo tosses a skeleton towards him and he turns it into another basic weapon. As he is busy creating weapons, the slime goes in for a hit and attacks him from the front. The MC uses one of his orc warriors as a shield and blocks the attack. The slime swallows the minions and destroys them. Upon seeing this, the MC smiles and says that the boss has just made a mistake since the skeleton it swallowed contained a bag filled with bones. He then uses his weapon creation skill to convert all of those bones into weapons, causing the slime to be torn apart from the inside. The skeletons swiftly get into action and start smashing the slime into even smaller pieces so it can't regenerate. The one-armed skeleton delivers the final blow as usual, and they receive 2,255 gold for killing the slime boss. Sungwoo orders the skeletons to collect the slime in an empty glass bottle since they might need the acid later on. While collecting the mucus, one of the skeletons comes across the core of the slime monster. It can be used for dissolving or fusing objects together. The MC picks it up using a cloth and wonders if it's a compound ingredient. Hanho calls him out and asks him to read the comments on that online post. The post has a lot of deleted comments. Other players have also reached out to the original poster asking about the deleted comments, but they just ask them to ignore them. Someone mentions the comment of the first person who was trying to get in contact with the group and asks if they have made it. But player 4884 tells them that they have not arrived yet. They claim that something must have happened to them on their way. Hanho finds it suspicious that they are deleting all the comments. Sun Ung-woo thinks to himself that the group first selflessly spent 1,000 gold on the post, and they continue spending more gold with the comments. He knows that there is something weird going on. We cut to an underground parking area where a bunch of guys are hanging around. One of them wonders why the players are even hunting monsters since killing other players is a lot more profitable. A single kill can give them 500 gold for a normal person and more than 000 gold for a player depending on their level. The other guy laughs and tells him that it is easier to kill players. Moreover, they also enjoy it. Two of the other guys sit in the car. One of them asks the other about their boss, but the guy looks to be out of his mind. He grabs his head as if it's about to explode and screams out the name of Professor Red. The other guy is a bit scared and asks him if he's talking about the serial killer. The tweaking guy starts having a flashback in which he is getting attacked by a monster. The monster turns out to be a vampire. He stares at the man with his sharp teeth and tells him that he has a need for people like him. At the same time, the MC takes out his sword and asks Hanho if he can ever kill another person. After getting bitten by the vampire, the man became a low-rank vampire. He wonders how things ended up this way. He just came to the convenience store with his other gang members to loot some stuff. However, the monster bit him and turned him into a vampire. After becoming a vampire, he started killing all of his gang members. The vampire watched with a smile as he killed them all one by one. The boss continued drinking blood from the dead guys on the floor. He no longer felt like a human. The vampire looked at him and told him to continue feeding and growing till they both met again. The boss finally comes out of his flashback as the guy sitting with him shouts at him. Another guy walks to the car window and asks him if there's a problem. He looks at the man and tells him that everything is fine. He then asks him what he wants to tell him. The guy shows him his phone and tells him that their prey has just arrived. Their post has got another comment from player 157 who says that he is with 2 other people. His group wants to meet them and calls them to the park. After hearing this, the boss immediately orders the guy to head for the park. With an evil smile, he thinks to himself how the open space of the apartment complex makes it easy for them to lure idiots like the person they just talked to. None of the apartment residents dare to say anything about it since they are all scared. The boss is planning on killing all of them once they run out of prey. The man driving presses the brakes as he notices the group standing in front of them on the road. They all are facing away from the car and wearing hoods, so the 2 of them can't really see their faces. The boss can't control himself as he sees the group. He screams at the guy to just run them over with the car. The guy obeys the order and slams into the group at full speed. However, upon hitting them, all they see are bones flying in the air. It turns out that there weren't any people in those hoods, but skeletons. Sun Manhwa uses the bones from those skeletons to create spikes and hit the car. The driver loses control and the car crashes. The boss doesn't understand what is going on. Someone suddenly breaks the car window and drags him out. After throwing him to the ground, the MC grabs his phone and asks him if he is the person who made the post. With a sword pointed at his head, the boss doesn't know what to say. The M was a bit suspicious when he saw those deleted comments. He thought about it and came to the conclusion that these guys must be getting something out of it. They decided to set a bait, but he wasn't expecting them to just run them over with the car. The boss guy looks at Sung Woo and furiously asks him if he even knows who they are. Without saying anything, our boy kicks the man in his face as one of his lackeys watches. He then asks him with a cold expression about the number of people he has upstairs. He threatens to rip off his head if he doesn't answer. Hearing this, the guy starts laughing. He goes in for an attack and asks the MC if he has even killed a person before. Out of nowhere, Ray shows up and slashes his arm with his sword. The man screams in pain as he bleeds all over the place. Sung Woo looks at him with disgust and tells him that even with the current state of the world, he isn't heartless enough to kill a person without hesitation. However, his skeletons are different. As one of the orc skeletons raises its axe to finish the guy, he starts laughing. The MC wonders if the guy has gone insane because of the pain. He turns towards the other guy and asks him if they should start by cutting off his legs or arms. The guy isn't about this life, so he quickly tells them that there are 8 people upstairs. Before he can speak any further, the boss guy kills him using his sharp claws. Hanho and Jisoo stare at him in disbelief as they witness him killing one of his own allies. His ripped-off arm has now been transformed into a pointed blade. He rips out the guy's head and starts drinking his blood. This allows him to heal back and also increase his stats. The man used to be in a 3-star ninja class, but after the boss bit his neck, his class changed to a low-rank vampire. In this class, you can't really level up, but you can absorb the stats of players that you kill. The man stands up and roars in anger, activating his berserk mode. This causes all his stats to increase by 20%. The MC realizes that there is a class even more gruesome than his own. The group gets into a defensive position with the skeletons guarding the front. Sun Manhwa knows that the vampire could take them out with a single blow if they make one wrong move. He orders his army to attack, but the guy turns out to be much faster than he thought, so he has to order the skeletons to get defensive again. The vampire tears through the skeletons and goes straight for the MC. He knows he has to take him out first, since he is the one controlling all the undead. Sun Woo barely manages to put his shield up before the guy attacks him with his sharp, pointy arm. The vampire immediately gets slashed by Jisoo from behind, which makes him laugh. He changes his target and starts attacking her. As he is trying to hit her, he gets hit by several daggers from the back. He looks back to see Hanho standing there with a smile and 2 daggers in his hands. He starts shooting daggers at the vampire like a machine gun. This makes him even more annoyed, and he changes his target. In the blink of an eye, the vampire launches himself towards Hanho, giving him no time to react. However, his attack gets parried at the last moment by Righty. The vampire manages to dodge the blade, but Sung Woo charges at him from behind with his axe. Again, the vampire manages to read the attack and destroys the axe. The MC immediately puts his shield up to protect himself, but the vampire is too strong. He continues dodging their attacks and says that they are too slow. As he is busy targeting Sun Woo, Jio shows up from behind and tries hitting him with her blazing sword attack. He sees it coming and gets out of the way. He laughs, telling her that he saw the attack coming from a mile away. Immediately after, Righty jumps on top of him with his sword and slashes right through his left arm. The vampire screams as his entire arm is cut off. Sung Woo realizes that this is his chance and orders all of the skeletons to attack him. At the same time, the goons under the vampire's command enter the scene. This makes him, as he tells them that they arrived at the perfect time. However, his men get scared watching him in his current form. While he is looking away, Jisoo hits him with her sword. Raidi and the other skeletons also join in, hitting the vampire at the same time. He tries to fight back, but the MC stabs him in the neck with his sword. He asks if he can also regenerate his head and rips it off. He gets 1,000 gold from killing him since he is considered a level 1 player. The MC is horrified to know that you can gain gold from killing players. He looks at the rest of the goons and asks them if that was the reason why they were killing other players. The group starts shaking in fear as the skeletons surround them. The MC walks over to them and tells them to drop their weapons. They all surrender and immediately drop all of their weapons. After questioning them, one of the guys tells him about their big boss. He reveals that they don't know who it is. It's just that their boss followed his orders, but they weren't aware that he could turn into a monster. Sun Woo wonders if the big boss is the one who created those monsters, and if he did, what is his class? This makes him question if there are classes with even more than 5 stars. He asks the guys about the amount of people they have killed so far. After hearing that they have killed over 21 people, he signals his skeletons to finish them off. They beg for him to spare them since they were only following orders, but he shows no mercy. He knows that if they don't kill these guys now, they might end up killing other people later on. Jisoo is a bit taken back by what she just saw, but she agrees with him. The post now has a new comment from a guy warning Sung Woo and LT, Unk and GT's group from meeting the other group since they are a bunch of murderers. The sergeant reads this comment and gets furious as he realizes that there are now people roaming around killing others in addition to the monsters. He then sees another comment saying that user 157, which is the MC's account, killed all of those murderers after setting a trap with the skeletons. While reading this, the sergeant breaks into a smile. She realizes that this is the same group that he met earlier. One of the soldiers informs him that there's a call, but he ignores him, saying that their saviors are doing great things. The scene then shifts to a guy in armor, who looks at the comments and expresses his gratitude for Sung Woo and LT, Unk and GT's group since they are still looking out for others despite their circumstances. The man then walks out into the bright light and asks his group if they should also start moving. As the MC's group walks down the roads, Hanho informs him of a new post. This post is from a user called the Prosecutor of Yeongdongpa. It tells other players that they can comment on this post if they can't afford to make their own posts using 1,000 gold. Jisoo and Sun Woo discuss how people are utilizing the post to comment about their missing family members and talk about synergy effects and monsters. It seems like the post is helping a lot of players who don't have enough gold to make posts. The group finally reaches Hanho's house. He looks at his home with a worried expression and prays that his family is still safe. The MC asks him to calm down and proceed with caution since they don't know the situation around here. They see dead orcs while walking up the stairs, which makes Hanho even more anxious. He starts praying for his parents' safety before he opens the door to his apartment. There is a huge slash mark on the door, which scares him. He screams for his mom to open the door. Suddenly, the door opens and his parents stand on the other side with worried expressions. After talking to them, he finds out that both of them didn't pick a class card. His dad tells him that the cards didn't quite pay his interest. As they all ate, Sun Woo asked the parents how they managed to stop the orcs. All other apartments had their doors broken down by the orcs, and this was the only one that stood. The dad tells them that he used pesticides to keep the orcs out. This shocks everyone, including the MC. The mom proudly tells them that all the orcs ran away when her husband sprayed them with pesticides. Hanho almost spills his drink while listening to this. After dinner, his mother thanks Sung Woo and Jisoo for bringing him back home. She then offers them some green tea since they don't have anything else at home. Hanho tells her that he also helped them out by throwing daggers, but his mom ignores him. As they all are resting inside the house, some kids on bikes look at the lights and let out an evil smirk. Jisoo is the first one to come out of the shower. The mom thinks that she has a frail body and starts to feel bad for her. Meanwhile, Hanho thinks to himself that she is 30 times stronger than him. The MC feels relieved as he finally goes to take a shower. He's glad that both of his friends' parents are fine. His dad was able to utilize the orcs' strong sense of smell against them. Otherwise, both of them would have ended up like the rest of the players. Even with the world going to hell, there was still something positive. After showering, the group begins cleaning their weapons. Hanho asks the MC about his thoughts since they can't stay at this place forever. He tells him that they should first decide where they want to go and then move out. Sung Woo thinks to himself that the orcs that first arrived were probably scouts. If there's a group of them nearby, it might actually turn into a large-scale battle. Their problem is to find out where to go since they don't have a clear objective in mind. As he is thinking, Hanho puts his phone up and screams at him to take a look. He tells him that the guy who posted to allow other players to comment has just made another post. In this post, the player claims that they have set up a safety zone inside Yeongdong Post Station with the help of his 3-star class friend. However, in order to maintain the zone, They need gold or rations. Jisoo looks at the post and asks if they can trust the person. Hanho thinks that the guy genuinely has other people's best interests at heart. On the other hand, Sungwoo is still unsure about this guy. He tells them that he now knows why he made that other post yesterday. Even though they might not be lying about the safety zone, they still spent 1,000 gold to open a new message board for survivors. So, it seems unlikely that they are doing all this out of the goodness of their hearts. He tells them to look at the comments, which are filled with praises for the player. Sun Eun-woo thinks that he did this just to gain a favorable reputation among the players. It seems like they are going to form a huge group soon. If that happens, they won't need to do anything, and all the resources they need will simply walk to them. Hanho can't believe that the guy did all of this for his own benefit. The MC tells him that he might be overthinking, but the station is too far for them to travel, so they can't really find out. Hanho finds a comment from Chief Gu claiming to have another safe zone at the Hazhang Fortress. He mentions in a comment that he requires rent. The MC doesn't really like the rent part, but he is curious about the safe zone. He asks his friend about the distance of the fortress from their current location. Hanho tells him that it takes about 20 minutes by bus. Hearing that it is not too far, the MC decides to make it their next destination. As they all get ready to leave, the MC apologizes to the parents for suddenly asking them to come with them. The dad smiles and tells him that it's fine. He has safely brought back his son, so he is happy to follow his lead. Hanho's mother tells him that apart from monsters, there are also bandits running around in the neighborhood. The MC is a bit confused hearing this, so he asks them what they mean. The dad explains that they're just a bunch of high school kids who go around on motorcycles and steal stuff for people. Sun Woo sighs as he realizes that he now has to deal with such petty criminals, too. Suddenly, they hear the sound of a bike approaching. As they all look back, they see a group of teenagers trying to look tough. They stop in front of them and demand that they hand over all the goods that they have. The kids even threaten them with their numbers and baseball bats. The MC looks at them with a smile and asks them if they truly have the greater numbers. Behind him, several glowing eyes start to appear. The kids suddenly turn around and leave before he can say anything else. This leaves the group confused since they don't know what scared the kids. The MC looks back with a worried expression and sees a pack of giant wolves standing there staring directly at them. The wolves are not attacking them instantly, so he suggests that they start backing away slowly. He doesn't want to engage in close combat with monsters that have 4 legs. Even if he doesn't take their sharp claws and fangs into account, their balance is just too good. If someone from his group fell to the ground, they wouldn't be able to make it out alive. The group slowly walks back into the apartment building. Hanho asks the MC if they are safe inside. However, with the wolves still staring at them, he knows that they can just break into the place and drag them out. As he is thinking of his next plan, one of the wolves charges towards them and slams into the front wall. Sungwoo suddenly throws the acid bottle towards the wolf, which causes it to burn. While the wolf is still in pain, the MC orders his skeletons to start throwing their spears at it. The only advantage they have over the wolves is that they can throw stuff. As another wolf tries to get inside, the MC orders one of his orc skeletons to rush at him. The wolf easily destroys the skeleton by biting its head, but suddenly the green acid starts coming out of its mouth. The MC laughs as he reveals that the skeleton is carrying that slime mucus. To seal the deal, Righty jumps from the first floor of the building and stabs the wolf right in the head. The MC gains 240 gold for killing the wolf. The other wolf is terrified as it sees the skeletons approaching it with their spears. It doesn't take long for them to kill all the remaining wolves. Sun Eun-woo gains some experience and reaches level 7. Jisoo looks down and tells him that they just feel more and more like a burden to him. The MC tells her that it's not true since the situation just wasn't favorable for them. He looks at her and thinks to himself that even though her class is Tiger Hunter, he should see her as a specialized class since she is only focused on increasing her physical strength. On the other hand, Hanho doesn't seem to be getting any stronger. He tries to take the wolf under his control, but it doesn't work since his level is still too low. He suggests that they keep moving since there may be more monsters nearby. Somewhere else, a military helicopter is being chased by flying dragons. The captain screams at the pilot to go faster, but the pilot tells him that they are flying at their maximum speed. He hurls insults at Sergeant Kim for not describing these dragons in more detail in his report. The pilot reminds him that he was the one who disregarded his reports since he was only a sergeant. Suddenly, a notification pops up that the field boss Wyvern has appeared. The dragon grabs the helicopter by its claws and destroys it like it's nothing. It then lands on top of a huge building and lets out a loud roar. Sun Woo and the group witness this, and they are terrified. Hanho thought that the military helicopter might be able to do something against the monsters, but he was wrong. His dad notices that the dragons are planning to sleep on top of the building. They're too close to the safe zone, but they can't move while that thing is still around. Sunu tells them that they will eventually leave and suggests that they take some rest. At night, the dragons fall asleep on the buildings while the group rests on the ground. Suddenly, the MC notices a flash followed by a system notification similar to the one they saw at the start of this apocalypse. It is the second phase of card selection. Hanho screams at his parents and tells them not to make the same mistake as him by picking a low-star card. His dad assures him that he won't make any mistakes since he's been playing cards for 20 years. As Sung-woo looks around to analyze the cards, he notices that only 15 seconds remain. Since he has already picked a card, this card will act as a secondary class card in addition to his current class. One of the cards suddenly disappears in front of his eyes. He realizes that other people are also picking up the cards. Hanho carefully looks at the card, trying to find one with the most amount of stars. The MC knows that he can't just pick his secondary class based on stars.